All right, you just bought Royal Langnickel acrylic paint from Walmart, and you want to know how well that's going to work for acrylic pour? I'm going to show you. All right, so again, I purchased these at Walmart. These are the acrylic paints that they have for sale there. Royal Langnickel is actually part of the Royal Brush manufacturing company. All of these paints are made in China. And these are definitely student level acrylics. They don't have printed on here the pigments that are used, opacity, or anything like that. I have reached out to the company, and if I get information about that, I will link it in the description below. But I would consider this a student level acrylic, or in between a student and a craft acrylic at this point, but we'll see based on the tests that we do. Pricing wise, it's actually really well priced. These are right now $2.97 for the 4 ounce or the 120 milliliter tubes, which comes out to be about 75 cents an ounce, which for pricing is some of the cheaper ones. They do have the quart size paints, but I couldn't find a place to buy them for cheaper than these were. Again, if I find that, I'll put it in the description below. So first thing we're going to do, as always, is we're going to test creating an orange and a purple and see how well the paints mix. All right, so a bit of red here, a little bit of red here. And this is, they didn't have the primary red, so this is the naphthalene carmine, which for our purposes will be just fine. A little yellow, blue. So these are kind of medium consistency. Some paints I've worked with are a little bit thinner, some paints are a little bit thicker, but either way, it's actually really nice. They seem to mix fine. Again, it took a little bit longer than some of the other paints that are out there, but we got a nice purple color there. I do want to add a little bit of white and see how that... Not bad at all. Move over to the orange. See, those mix much quicker than the blue and purple, which was interesting. So overall, consistency-wise, how they mix, it's not bad at all. Overall, I get a nice color. So next, let's see how it mixes with pouring mediums. All right, so the next test is how well it mixes 2 to 1. So 2 parts Floetrol, 10 grams of Floetrol, 1 part paint, 2 to 1 glue, 2 to 1 Liquitex, again 10 and 5, 10 and 5, and then 50 grams of Floetrol to 5 grams of paint so we can see how pigmented the paint is. So first we'll do the Floetrol. It actually mixed really well and really quickly. This is a little bit thinner than some of the other paints, so I'm not surprised by that. So that actually mixed really nicely. Next is glue. And one thing I did notice is, again, that mixed really quickly, partly because that's a little bit thinner than normal paints. I can tell it's a little bit thinner because see how the color is starting to separate in here? That's what happens when you get thinner paints. So this is the Liquitex. And that mixed really well. Now one interesting thing to note, I'm going to put the Liquitex in the middle here, is Liquitex has almost no color to it. So these two have a little bit of white, but notice how I really can't see the difference between these. This might be a teensy-weensy bit more blue, but you don't get a lot of loss of color, which is good. Some of the other paints that I've tested, you saw the difference between these 3 colors, even just this initial pour. So the next one is the 50 to 1, or sorry, 10 to 1, 50 grams of Liquitex and 5 grams of paint. I'm hoping this gets a little bit darker. You can kind of see here, the color. Now look at this. Look at how much lighter that is than these. Now you'd expect that, again, it's getting diluted 10 to 1 instead of 2 to 1. But some paints are much better than this. So I would say that's kind of a downer for me for this paint. The pigment load isn't the greatest, although at the normal 2 to 1 ratio, it looks like it's pretty good. So overall, it's average. You know, student level acrylic, not probably, it's better than craft, but it's not as good as something like Arteza or Amsterdam or even Liquitex. So overall, it's all right. The next thing we're going to test is doing an actual pour. All right, so let's do a pour here. I have mixed my paints up. Let me show you over here. So they're a medium consistency. They leave a mound, goes away. And if I can get enough paint on here. So a mound, in between a mound and mound upon a mound. Want to make sure the colors don't mix too much. I'm just going to use the primary colors. I'm going to put a little white in between to see how well that separates them. And this is an 8x8 canvas, so I need about 3.5 ounces of paint. I have about an ounce of each of these after the water added, and then I have a 5-ounce cup that I've been using for each of these. So I'm actually going to start with a little bit of blue. Put a white in between all these layers. That's the bottom, and then this time we'll let the colors mix a little bit. Seems like the white, even in the last few minutes that I've been doing this, thickened up way more than the other colors. The white is definitely the heaviest color. I can tell that because of look how deep the white is sinking. And look the size of the white. The white rings. That means the white's sinking, whereas these other three colors are staying higher up, which is what I'd expect of titanium white. Titanium is generally one of the heavier colors. So that's good. That means they use good quality, a better quality pigment for the whites, unlike craft paint, which the whites are chalky and they're very light. So let's pour this out and see how it goes. We're just going to do a traditional straight pour. Let's do it this way so I can see on the other camera. Again, the lower I go, see how slowly the rings come out. They come out fatter. The higher up you go, they squiggle more. So try kind of the fatter rings. Here's all this white at the end that has all sunk, kind of mixed with the other colors. All right, give it a good torch. To be perfectly honest, I am surprised at how bright this is. Some of the other paints that I've used have really dulled down as I poured them out like this, but this seems to be pretty bright. I hope that I can keep some of that in the center here. I hate this part. It mixed too much, so I'm going to pour that off last so I can push it all off. So let's start over here. Come to that side. Sorry about that. The memory on my card ran out, so I had to go move some of my videos off. Now I'm doing this a little bit faster than I normally would, but actually let's Make sure that gets off. Clean up the edges just a little. All right, I gotta be honest, I am impressed. For how cheap these paints are, that is some amazing color. Let me take you down for a close-up. Okay, so look at this. Look at all the beautiful colors that I got here. Look at how dark and deep they are. The color separation here. The white in between the colors actually helps that quite a bit. But the colors didn't muddy, which is not normal for doing all of the primary colors together. I mean, I did at the part that I took off that I didn't like as much, but my gosh, look at how beautiful that is. So overall, the price, big thumbs up. 75 cents per ounce, just regular with no needing any deals or anything. Big thumbs up. The pigments, I'm gonna have to give a big thumbs up too for the price. They're great. Availability, Walmart and online, you can buy them in kits. I don't know the light fastness, so that's kind of a negative for me. I hope they get back to me and I can put it in the description down below. Color selection, they only have like 13, 24 colors, something like that. So that's kind of a negative, but again, you can make your own colors if you have the primary colors. So overall, I'm impressed. For somebody just starting out and buying some cheap acrylic paint, this is the one that I would recommend initially. And once I'm done with all of my paint reviews, I will link that video here.